Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Netflops podcast. This is the podcast where we break down movies that are poorly rated on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb specifically. We are in the midst of a Hallmark December in which we're using the Hallmark streaming app to watch a bunch of different Christmas movies. And this week is a doozy. We really suffered for this one, and by we, I mean me, your host, Andy Doherty, and my co-host, Adam Janketic. Adam, how you doing, bud?
This was the movie that defeated me. Let it be known, a Christmas Switch defeated me.
I mean, like, here's the IMDb description, which I think is it's one sentence, which I think is the lowest I think we've ever had on this on this podcast. Two women magically switch bodies during the holidays and learn valuable lessons about family, love, and Christmas cheer.
Wow.
That's all we got.
Wow, that was so vague.
Yeah, so the premise is that they're two mothers who have totally different lives. One is like super successful, the other one is and is kind of distant from her family. The other one is a hard worker but is close to her family. And they do the classic swap Freaky Friday body switch. But I don't think that was necessary.
Yeah, like they could have I'm trying to think, like wife swapped or whatever, and like it would have been a totally like the same movie.
I mean, like, this movie just, they packed in like 3 storylines, but then did nothing with any of them.
Yeah. And also, I thought, I know it's like Hallmark and kids friendly or whatever, but like I thought there was gonna be like a funny moment of like, oh hey, why are like our families all of a sudden getting together? Oh, why are like the wives looking at the husbands like that? Oh, what's going on here? There's like no even mention of that.
I mean, the husbands were so like when they both wake up. So after the body swap, when they both wake up in the bed and they're like defending themselves from the each other's husband because they swap bodies, like. I'm like, the husband's just like, okay, honey, you hit your head pretty hard last night. Like, but both of them acted the same exact way and then just walked out of the room.
But I did like Paul was Audrey's husband. I liked his performance better.
Yeah, I mean, I think we just saw more of him.
Yes, but he was not like, oh, more down to earth. He was just like, oh yeah, I care about my kid. Like, oh, like I made a change to make my lives easier. Like he was like very like a real character. And then Alex, Julia's husband, was
Which I didn't even know that was his name.
exactly, yeah. I think he was like a lawyer, or I forget. No, he was like a businessman. He had clients in Japan or some shit. That's the only memorable thing about him.
Yeah, he was gone for like most of, like at the beginning parts of the movie. The only time that he was on screen for more than a minute was in like that bedroom scene when they first swap bodies. Oh no, he was there decorating the tree and stuff. So maybe I'm a little bit wrong on that. But I feel like he was just
No, he wasn't
on screen less than Paul.
Yeah, the only time they like matched the screen time was when they're playing charades, and he was not like a lively character in that.
What do you mean? He was a shark and then he tackled them on the couch.
Yeah, the classic. Oh, I only know Jaws.
You know how you play charades.
Yeah, yeah.
To bring them closer together.
They're like playing Christmas charades, and she's doing it like a bang up job, being like, "Oh, it sounds like wife," and like 4 words. Oh, the whatever life of Christmas. I forget what.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Sorry, I'm like literally like this movie beat me down, and then I like paused it, and I was like, please no more. Then I was like, oh, I have to do this, and I just kept getting pummeled by this fucking movie.
I mean, so I wanted to preface this. We talked about this offline. We did the dirty work for you on this one. Like, don't watch this movie.
Like,
please don't watch this movie.
We got into way more depth, but like it was like we were just like, how could anyone like watch this and like find enjoyment? Like things just were happening, and like there was I think we counted 3 plot points that didn't get like fully resolved, and like they didn't like work themselves out. It was such a bad movie.
Well, and like that was the thing about like Fur Crazy and the Spirit of Christmas. Like at least there was something to like keep us around. You know what I mean? At least we were like, oh well, you know what? We can ignore that because it's a Hallmark movie, or because like it's supposed to be campy and stuff like that. This movie does not get any of those passes. it is like it's like a vanilla wafer without the vanilla inside of it.
Yeah, like in the Ghost movie. I'm sorry, I can't remember the title, even though you just said it. Spirit of Christmas, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, at least that I was like, oh, like funny ghost man. What's gonna happen? Oh, he's saying funny lines. He's talking like 20s accent. Like, I was like finding some enjoyment, like trying to like pull at the string and be like, oh, I want like more of this. In this movie, I just wanted it to end. Like, I wanted nothing to happen.
Yeah, like I was telling you again offline. I was like, yeah, like I skipped through good portions of the middle of this movie, and I was like, I need to go
Which
back and watch the middle
that
parts of this movie.
like to preface, that's so out of character of you. Like, you fucking thrive in dog shit movies, and like for you to just be like, no, 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 just 5 minutes, please, just get this going.
This literally like this is the most empty movie I think I've ever seen.
And
You know what I
I
mean?
was
Like,
just waiting on like, because Freaky Friday isn't like the original or the last of like the body swap fucking, oh yeah, like let me view your life type deal movie. And it didn't follow like anything. It wasn't even the main plot point was them like swapping bodies. Well, it was, but it wasn't.
yeah, it was like because there was Christmas as like an overarching thing, and then it was just like it seemed like there were two women, right, and they were both stressed out in their lives. Like one with like they say it at the end as they're switching back. I want my whatever my messy beautiful life back, and the other one says I want my perfect imperfect life back, and I'm like, yeah, they just kind of switched bodies and like were okay at doing both jobs. They didn't really struggle that much in either job. Like it was just very wild that there was like not more emphasis on them struggling to be inside each other's bodies.
Yeah, like being a hostess or server. I'm sorry, yeah, server. It's like a very difficult job. You got like remember orders and table numbers. Like there was a scene where her and her boss talked for like a second, and then that was it. And like that was here, like, oh, such a hard life. Oh, I got to take care of my daughter, which like she raised a daughter and she's a teenager. Julia, to preface that, not that it fucking matters. Uh,
Who is in Audrey's body?
yeah,
Yes. Okay.
to clarify, doesn't mean anything. But like, you know what I mean? Like like you raise a daughter. How do you not know this is what you do to like a 4-year-old daughter? You like you coddle them and like whatever, pack them lunch, and it's just like,
Because I think they were rich, so they had other people just take care of it, or they made apparently the whole thing was that the daughter resented Julia, her daughter. What was her name? Laurel.
Laurel.
He names her kid fucking Laurel. Um, Laurel, I know it was like a main character in like How to Get Away with Murder, but anyway, um, as I shit on the name. But she resented Julia, her mom, because she created such a structured life for her, so it was always about work, work, work. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was an open-ended question. I thought that was more of a statement.
But then, like, she goes over to when she body swaps with Audrey, and it was like, yeah, like, my daughter's like, she's like, my daughter's struggling with math and blah, blah, blah. And then she gives that daughter structure, and then it works.
Well, I literally, the way I took it as was she was like, oh, I will just help you with your reading homework, and I'll do that like this time and this time. And like they just went okay, okay, and then it's like, wow, I magically can read better.
Well, the Audrey's daughter Kelly, who was like what
4.
4, and Laurel is like a teenager, like late teens, like in high school. Audrey's daughter is like mommy taught me how to prioritize, or something like that. And I was like, what the fuck is that?
I also gotta say, like, the daughter Kelly acted circles around some of these fucking older people.
Well, I mean, I guess it's pretty easy when you're getting like more like better lines than any one of your castmates.
Yeah, yeah.
She was reading lines of like a 40-year-old as a 4-year-old. Like I think I remember there was a scene where she said, "Oh, mommy, you're so funny," and it gave me such Room vibes.
Oh god.
Oh god. So let's get into how like these characters meet. So The opening scene, it's showing like Audrey as she's working her shitty waitress job, like daydreaming.
No, that's not the opening scene.
What's the opening scene?
The opening scene is the scene from the end of the movie. Her singing
Yeah,
in a stadium full of 100 people.
and then her boss comes over and snaps her out of it. Was a daydream.
Yeah, it was a daydream. But I'm saying that's how I was so taken back by like I'm like, what is this girl lip syncing Christmas songs for? By like these like weird people? No, you didn't think that when the movie first started?
I didn't know. I was like, whoa, that's a strange way to start a movie. But then when it was like, oh, she was daydreaming, I was like, okay, like at least we know what's gonna happen at the end of the movie now, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it was the exact
Oh
same
yes,
shot.
no, yeah, and it was like later in the song, so it worked out.
Which
They
is
didn't use the
why
exact.
I preface that boom, A Christmas Switch 2, Audrey the fucking time wizard. I don't fucking know.
This is how bad
The
this
future
movie is.
teller. Like,
This is how bad this movie is. It was just like just nonsensical scenes.
I just wanted it to be more self-aware and like have. I wish the actors cared more or cared less. I didn't like this weird fucking middle everyone was just sticking to. Like every line felt safe and like every line was like the second take. Like it wasn't like true or it wasn't like lifeful.
Nothing had consequence. Like
Yeah.
characters weren't mad at each other. Like when they swap bodies, it's because they're in that Christmas shop together and they come upon like the magic Christmas ornament, and for some reason Mrs. Nick, who is just like this old woman that runs this Christmas tree shop, is deciding to fuck with these two people and swap their bodies, and they rip apart the candy canes on the ornament as they're fighting over it, and then they swap bodies, and it's like then they realize their situation, and then they're just like not mad at each other.
Yep.
And it's like I would be like, why did you fight over that ornament with me? Like, you know, there was no anger in this movie.
Yeah, like exactly. There was like no fucking emotion in like anything.
And like even from the actors themselves, they just get over being body swapped so quick.
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah,
like
I'm pretty sure like 2 scenes after like the wake up scene, they're just like, oh, I guess we'll have to live each other's lives, and like, and they just shrug, and then they.
and yeah, they like looked for the ornament for about 5 seconds, and then we're like, oh, we gotta move on with our lives.
Also, how was your watch? Where I thought the time was the wonkiest. Like it wasn't like correct. It was like, oh, Christmas is 3 days away, and it's like, wow, it's Christmas Eve, and it's like, when
Yeah.
was that?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
that
At the
was
beginning of the Switch, I think they said 2 weeks.
yeah.
And then like the next scene, like time was moving really slow. Like it was a couple of days later, like days had gone by. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, Christmas is 3 days away. And I was like, huh?
Yeah.
That's how it was. The timing was so fucking odd.
Yeah, because like they even said like, oh, you like after your shift, go pick your daughter from school and run the PTA meeting. And it's like, yeah, it was all one day. How is it 3 days till Christmas?
Yeah, no, it was, and there was like no, it was just also like sudden growth. Like they were doing like their jobs bad. Like Audrey was like trying to go through like meetings, and she was fucking up, being like, oh, this person had a good idea, that person had a good idea, because she doesn't know how to run a company. But then Julia as Audrey was also like, she like forgot the daughter's juice box. You know, like
It was like, oh, I didn't follow the business reports, and now we're getting like audited for tax fraud. And it's like, my daughter doesn't like crust on her sandwich. Like, these are the same. Like,
but those were the stakes. Like I don't understand why it was like, because like at the end it's like, oh, they both did great jobs in each other's lives and made each other's lives better, and then like Audrey, who's in Julia's body, just starts breaking down, going, "You make my family better." I'm like, no, other way around. What do you mean?
yeah.
I am definitely Team Julia in this movie.
Oh yeah. But yeah, no, like Julia, the only thing she did was like get it kicked out of PTA or what? Yeah, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And make her husband actually be a father.
But like, that whole plot point was fucking strange as fuck.
It
When the
also got
two
resolved immediately.
by him talking to the other father, and they're drinking wine, and it was like, man, sometimes I really need to be there for my family. And the other father looked at him and went, I know, right? And then they clinked glasses.
Like the other just like nods aggressively. He was like, "Oh yeah, don't I know that?" And then just like cheers, like.
Uh, and they both seemed like good parents.
Yeah, exactly.
Like even the one father, he was like the daughter stormed off when it was like, oh, we need to go to work on the business, and she was like, oh, the old mom's back after like they just had reconnected, and he's like, oh, I'll take care of her.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, you know what? I'll step in on this one." Like, you know what I mean? Not even just like, "Oh yeah, fucking let our kids sulk," like fucking whatever. Like he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna do something about this."
Oh man, I mean, what do you want? What do you want to go over first? Like, what's a thing? What's a thing that's calling out to you to go over?
All right, we've both been just airballing this. I haven't even looked at my fucking notes yet, which I have many pages of.
Yeah, I mean, we could start from the top if you want.
Yeah, you want some structure in? You want to put some structure into your life?
I mean, I don't. I have 3 pages of notes, but I feel like we're gonna run through them quickly.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, because there's nothing to really like. I just have the Canteen Eatery. I thought that was fucking hilarious. That's what the name of the restaurant. That was the restaurant that Audrey works at.
What kind of diner is that makes their
have...
fucking employees? It's like a mom and pop diner, and then they make their employees go up and sing.
Well, you ever been to Johnny Rockets, and when a certain song comes on, they fucking like clap and sing the song? It didn't feel like that at all.
But that's a chain.
I said it didn't feel like that at all.
No.
It was like also the guy in the beginning where Julia is like a talent scout. Like she's like, "Oh, dude, this new talent," and there's like fucking 5 posters of like, "This is the one, you're gonna love him," and the guy just fucking is like obnoxious and so bad at singing. Like,
well, I have 2 things about that. First of all, the post-it note. Did you see what it said?
I don't remember, but I do remember there being like a silly
I have it quoted. It says, Julia, think you'll love him. Next, Gavin Vaughn. So I didn't know who the fuck Gavin Vaughn was. So I started Google searching. And obviously nothing came up.
Yeah.
Or a SoundCloud rapper, some SoundCloud rapper from California that has like 10 views, 10 followers on this thing. And I was like, oh, that's fucking hysterical. Then when he starts singing, like when we see Gavin Vaughn later, it's like I don't know how to describe him. He's like a like early 20s, mid 20s, like mixed race kid. Yeah.
And it's there's nothing prefacing like which music he like sings. He could be like a country singer, a fucking rock star, like his clothes are so like he's wearing like a jean jacket and like jeans. There's nothing being like, oh yeah, I'm punk, I'm fucking like whatever, you know what I mean? Like I'm this way, I'm that. He was just some dude, and there's like, oh, we need him. Like he's the musical guest, Gavin Vaughn, baby, we need him.
And the guy that was singing, his name was like Colton or whatever, who was singing at like that she was sent to this diner to go see, looked like he was like late 20s at least.
Yeah.
Maybe even mid 30s, and then couldn't sing.
Also, to preface, Julie is the president of a record label. Why is she doing the grunt work of like why is she getting like vetted this guy and like going into a diner and being like, "Oh, I'm going to sign you personally as the president." Like what is that concept?
Oh, whoever wrote like that side of the script has no idea what businesses do.
Yeah.
Because later when Audrey like takes over her body and is like working in there and the assistant is bringing in like expense reports and it's like, yeah, no, she's either doing the grunt work or she's doing those things. She's not going to be doing both.
Yeah, she's not doing everything and running a company. Yeah, at one point she just it's not like an important meeting, but it's just like a meeting where like some random lady goes, "Oh, we need to have Gavin Vaughn on the team." And like that was the meeting. And then she just like left.
And Julia knows this, and
Yeah,
was like telling Aubrey or Audrey. I keep saying Aubrey. Audrey before that scene, like this is the most important thing. Like I'll deal with the bad expense reports, whatever. Just get this one thing done and sign this kid back to our label.
yeah, and it's if you're the president, why are they treating her like that? Like, what was that whole exchange? You know?
Because the writers don't know anything about how a business is run.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
If they're gonna call somebody a president, have them do grunt work and also answer to people, but they explicitly say in the movie it's your business.
Yeah, like many times. That's why I was so confused, especially when like her assistant. Also, that wasn't resolved. Like it was like because Julia was like not like mean to her, but she was like standoffish of being like he was like, oh, here's the expense reports, and then she was like, okay, thanks. Why are you still here? And like he like scurried away to like Audrey being Julia, been like nicer to him. Like he didn't like say like, oh, weird. This is like very unlike you. He was just like, all right, yeah, I'm rolling with this.
Yeah. I mean, like, nobody really even notices a difference between the two of them, besides the security guard, like, many times Julia, as Audrey, like, tries to drive up, and he's like, hey, you sound like her, but you're not her, so get the fuck out. Like, that was the only time that there was
Someone
noticed.
said something, yeah. Yeah, I thought maybe even like the husbands would like be like, hey, like is something going on? Like this isn't like you. They just kept going, oh, she hit her head. Like she'll be fine in a couple days.
Most oblivious spouses ever.
Yeah.
And how when they switch back at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, as if you're gonna watch this, please don't watch this movie. I preface
please.
again. When they switch back and the same thing happens where they rip apart the same ornament that's there placed magically by Mrs. Nick, they go and hit their heads again and pass out again.
Yeah, what's that whole like what was the deal with that? Like even in Freaky Friday when they crack the fortune cookie, they just like wake up in each other's bed. Why did they have to hit their head again? Like what was
a lot of concussions.
Well, yeah, why couldn't they have just been like swapped overnight or like you swapped at one point? Like
or you wished upon a star and
yeah.
like they looked down and saw Mrs. Nick standing in their front yard or some shit. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And or she like came and knocked on the door and was like, Julia, you're gonna be somebody else tomorrow, and she's like, what the fuck, get the fuck off my lawn. And like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, or like she was like a caroler, or like she was like fucking something.
That'd be good.
Anything,
Can we talk about Mrs. Nick's story?
I was like every time I saw her, I was like, oh hell yeah, here she is again. She was like the shining star in this fucking dog shit movie.
What the fuck was her role?
She was like the ominous fucking thing. But I feel like a little kid could have done the same exact thing but better. Old black man could have done the same role but better. Anything else. Like just been like the weird like, oh, they keep reappearing and like being different people, but not. Yeah. She was like the same exact person. They just kept the only time they said something was at the end of the movie where she was like, was that the fucking Christmas store girl? And they were just like, I don't know, and drank the fucking.
Julie goes, nah, it can't be.
Oh, I thought they were gonna switch back after she gave them that.
Yeah, she gave them a poisoned. But like, if she's supposed to be like, she was there for the purpose of causing them to switch to show them that their lives were good anyway. She has no motives. she pretty much did it just to fuck with them.
Yeah.
She was like, I'm just going to cause some holiday chaos.
Well, yeah, she's Mrs. Claus, so I guess that's what Mrs. Claus does?
Mrs. Nick.
Miss Nick, yeah. So St. Nick's.
Yeah,
St. Nick's wife, yeah.
Wife. And then it was like you need to like there's a whole countdown too that she initiates because the store apparently disappears from from Christmas to Christmas, like it will reappear again, I guess, in December. There was no limits. Like, we're closed down till next year. Sorry.
Oh, thing to relate this to Fur Crazy was I don't remember the line word for word, but something along the lines of like, oh, like people just love it, so we just keep opening every year. Like I was like, was this another like failing business that it's open for no fucking reason other than like, oh, we gotta spread Christmas cheer. We have to spread the Christmas cheer.
Yeah, she said when Julia was picking up the painting, which it was just like a picture frame.
Yeah,
Did you
that was
notice
an
that?
yeah. Like I also I didn't realize her daughter was a teenage daughter at that point yet. So I was like, what fucking teenage daughter needs like a hand drawn one of a kind like drawing of Paris? Like what is that as a present?
And then like she just goes and picks up a picture frame in a bag. It's like,
Yeah,
okay.
from a holiday store. Like
For a
what was
holiday
that?
stuff. And then that's when Mrs. Nick says to Julia, she was like, she cut the line.
Yeah,
She cut the line and was like, you can either give me what I want or physically move me. And Mrs. Nick is just like, we make a lot of people happy here. If that's what makes you happy, go for it.
which
Just,
honestly, not to like condone her actions or blah blah blah. Like, but like honestly, if she was just like, hey, I placed like I paid for my thing already. Is it here? And then like if she just like what I obviously if she went about it a little differently, she would have just like, oh, here you are, bye, because she paid for it already. But what a weird way to fucking wait and fucking like this 10-person line just so I can hang this thing and leave. Like,
I mean, I think it would have been a little bit better if, like, because she's coming off as, like, I forgot how, like, shrewd she was in the beginning of this movie, because the minute she
yeah,
swaps bodies, it goes away.
yep,
And, like, maybe if she was standing in line, because she says to her husband, when they're on the phone, he was like, oh, you got to pick that up because I'm going out to, like, a meeting or whatever. And she's like, I don't like. First off, it's a holiday store. Second off, I'm close to people, so that's a big no. And third, I gotta wait. Like no, So it's like even if she stood on line and then was that impatient that she walked up, it would have like added a little bit more to it instead of her just straight up walking to the front of the line.
yeah. A lot of stuff fell short like that.
I mean, in that same scene, like right before it, Audrey, when we first meet Miss Nick, Audrey is looking at a stuffed animal, and you see the big giant price tag says like $9 on it, and like she's like, put it down, Audrey. You just gotta put it down. She's talking to herself. She's like, put it down. You can put it down. You can't afford that. And then like Miss Nick shows up, and she's just like, I'm sorry, I'm tight on money.
Yeah, that was so weird. And then another thing, I actually have it written down. I'm not gonna even read it. Like she says that, and then I'm like, oh wow, they must like live in a very like bare house, and their house just full of fucking toys and nutcrackers and like Christmas shit, like head to toe Christmas shit. I'm like, are you tight on money? Like,
I liked it when Julia was like, oh, I could just pad your bank account.
yeah. And then it's like, oh, my husband would fucking know. It's like, you don't have your own fucking bank account. You only have a joint bank account. Like what?
Yeah, I mean that's understandable. She loved her
Really?
husband,
No,
even
people
though he
still
apparently wasn't there.
they still only had a joint bank account. They didn't have like checkings or savings or fucking anything. Like, or even been
Listen,
like, oh, hold on to my credit card. Here's the pin. Like,
that would have been a good fix. There you go. Because I'm like, listen, it's like they thought that the president of the bank would be running around doing grunt work. So
yeah, true, true, true.
I don't think people having separate bank accounts exists in this Christian mindset world that's set up here. Um, God. Oh yeah. Then Mrs. Nick says the only quotable line I think in this movie, where she hands Audrey a candy cane, and then she does later to Julia, and she just says, "It's amazing what a candy cane can do," and that has no relevance for the rest of the movie. Oh no, it
I,
does. Okay.
well, oh yeah, because they broke apart the candy canes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that's we're one for a million, Andy.
Well, I mean, like after they body, a couple good, more good things I could say about this movie is that, like, at least when they did the stereotypical like body swap movie like tropes, at least those worked.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't like keep up with some of them. Like, if you're gonna like be that type of movie, like if you're a fucking horror movie and you don't like use like what is there, like if you don't use jump scares or you don't use like the scary music, the suspenseful music, it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, yeah, and like I think what happens, and it's seeming to be a trend with all these Hallmark movies, is that there's like a problem, and then it's like boom, it's immediately solved.
Yeah,
Like when Audrey is Julia and is trying to get Laurel's affection back, like bring out the Christmas stuff, like she could have baited her out of the room. Like there could have been more scenes with her like Laurel shouldn't have just given up instantly and been like, "Oh, mommy likes Christmas now. I'm totally on board for this."
Yeah, I didn't like that at all.
And then like even if they had react like where Laurel got closer and then Kelly could have like pushed Audrey away. I mean Julia as Audrey away, that could have been a thing. Um there needed to be more conflict, but it just wasn't going to happen in this movie.
What else did you like about the movie? I think you said you had one more thing.
I liked their connection. I think they had some pretty good on-screen chemistry, like probably outside of that first swap scene when they're in the Christmas shop. Outside of that, they acted pretty well. I think Ashley Wood acted better than Jackie did, uh, because like when she wakes up, when because it's the same person, and they have to now act like another. Like that's a really hard thing to pull off. Like
Yeah.
acting like another person halfway through a movie,
Well,
and
I'd argue that they were not playing like the actor. Like they wouldn't like. I'm trying to think. Like to preface, it's like very well known. Freaky Friday, like they like knew. Oh, Lindsay Lohan. They knew. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the other one, but you know what I'm talking about. Like
yeah,
they knew the actors. They knew how they acted. They like kind of like dressed a certain way. They like they talked the way they did. This one, it felt like it was like very like, oh, they swapped, and it was like, oh, like you were saying, the shrewdness just completely went away. She wasn't,
yeah.
she wasn't even like rude or like mean to her family. You know what I mean? They both just kind of acted like pretty vanilla, a little more on one side than the other type deal. But like it wasn't that hard.
Yeah, but like I feel like the girl, the Ashley Wood who was playing Julia, did a great job of pretending to be Audrey, whereas I
Yes,
don't
more
think it was
so vice
reciprocated.
versa.
Yeah,
Yes,
because you need to act like a different person. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
but
if
from
like if Audrey was equally as shrewd, which I guess she was for like maybe like one scene when they're at the restaurant or they're at the diner and she's rude to the customer.
which was weird, like seeing as like the scene before she was like, "Oh, I'm picking up all these extra shifts to get money to like pay for my family, to like sustain my family." Like, you know what I mean? And she was just like being horrible at her fucking job and thinking it was gonna be okay.
Yeah, no, like it doesn't work story wise. No.
Yeah, right.
Like I feel like that Audrey in Julia's body did better at her job than Julia did in Audrey's body, and that's just really bad because she was the president of a label.
Yep.
I,
Oh,
how, go for it.
there's another thing. I thought, when they swap bodies, Julia as Audrey was gonna like sing really fucking well and then been
Yeah,
jealous and then be
yeah.
like, wow, this feels amazing singing like this. Can you, as me, put me on like a record label? Blah, blah. I thought that was gonna be a thing, and then she just like bricked it on stage, and then the owner was just like, get out of here. Like, what are you doing?
Head injuries, am I right?
Yeah, yeah. I was like, you missed a fucking golden opportunity of like, oh wow, I didn't realize like to have talent like this would feel this way, like people cheering, clapping. I didn't, and like it was just like, oh haha, she's a bad singer. Like, and was that a joke? Was that, I don't know what that was supposed to be.
And then she walks up to she walks up to Julia, and she's like, well, you gotta understand. She's like, why didn't I sing well? And she just goes, oh, you gotta understand. It's like you're playing an instrument.
Yeah, like why explain that away when you could have just had her? Because she was lip syncing the whole fucking
Yeah.
like, so like not even like oh well, like it's a movie, like you're gonna have to like nail this. It was just like, oh yeah, that take, we'll just use that, whatever, fix it
it,
in
it
post. And then the
it
post guy
was
was like, I'm not doing this.
the worst lip syncing
Yeah,
I've seen in a movie.
yeah, yeah, I've seen in a movie like with time and shit, not just like someone auto syncing on a fucking YouTube video where it was like, oh, like auto sync goes bad in a like, right? How do you mess it up in a movie?
Yeah, you don't put enough time into editing that shit.
Honestly, though, I don't think we delved deep in this. This movie is so forgotten. Like, I don't know how you found this movie. Like, we're like looking up cast on Google, and it's taking cast from other fucking movies and like
Yes.
putting it in this. This movie is so very deep. It's
And it's a
I couldn't find reviews.
2018 movie.
Yeah,
That's bad.
like we're kind of going off of like I'm IMDb like user click reviews of like stars of 1 to 10.
Yeah. And this got a 6, which that's really hard to justify.
Yeah.
But like everybody in this top billing cast, like, from Audrey, Julia, Paul, Alex, the two husbands, Laurel, Kelly, the daughters, Miss Nick, Stan, the diner owner, Tyler, the assistant, Gavin Vaughn. They're all like background actors.
Yeah.
And I hate to like shame them like that, but like, they were all background actors. Definitely left more to be desired.
Yeah, well, I wish they went into other shit and like, if they're not gonna like harp on the fucking we're in each other's bodies type deal, which I get, like they are in that, so that's what the movie's gonna be about. But I wish it was more of like, we knew more about Tyler. He opened up more. He was like, blah blah blah. Like, this is why I'm doing this. Like, thank you for being nice to me. Like, my dad died or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, I wish there's more to like every character. Obviously, Miss Nick, whatever, mysterious character that keeps showing up, whatever. Yeah, like maybe the owner needs like, my wife is sick. She needs surgery. Something like, you gotta.
Drama.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you gotta, like, this is why I need you on so many shifts. Like, more people come in, I get more money. Like, I can actually afford blah 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 something before Christmas. Like,
Yeah. No, and you're like, when you said it was safe, like they just did the exact safe thing that they needed to do. You're 1,000% right, because this movie had zero problems besides
yeah,
the body swap.
and even that wasn't the end of the world for them. They were just like they shrugged it off and was like, I can do your fucking job. It's super easy. I can do your job. It's super easy. And like,
And
that
then
was
they
it.
did it.
Yeah.
And then they were completely competent in each other's jobs. Wild. Fucking wild. Yeah, I mean, going into like, so Julia's whole thing is that she needs to sign this guy back. It's a young artist, and he's like, well, I'm gonna need. She gives him the contract. So Julia as Audrey is like trying to walk her through it, and somehow like her earpiece fucks up in the middle of the meeting.
Which I thought that was gonna be like, Miss Nick appeared and like had a fucking like jammer or some shit.
Yeah,
It
that
was
would
just
have been
like,
good.
right? Explain it. It just fizzled out. Like,
And by the time she runs up there, like you hear them talking, and literally Audrey as Julia is just giving like a heart to heart to this kid Gavin, because he's like, listen, I gotta go somewhere else and get like $1 million more dollars. And she's like, listen, like, we're the ones you trusted in you, so like, isn't our relationship worth anything? And he just caves and is just like, yeah, no problem, send it over to my agents. And I'm like, there's no agents or lawyers in the room, like,
yeah. What a point, Andy.
for $1 million less.
Yeah.
He's just like, yeah, I could get $1 million somewhere else, but
No, like, yeah, you're right. She like during the speech, she's like, like, we like left a face with you, like we grew with you, blah blah blah. That, I guess you could skip for some money to be like, you know how I treat you. Like, I guess that's it. But like you were saying, yeah, the lawyer would just be like, no, like, we're getting more money. Like, my paycheck's getting bigger because you're getting this other deal.
yeah, and she, I forget what she said. She said something like, you give people the chance to dream or something like that, the chance to be
Oh
a
yeah, yeah.
dreamer. Which was when they're in the coffee shop and Julia is in her regular body in the beginning of the movie, and she hears Audrey sing. She's like, hey, you should really like become a star with that. You've got a really good face and a good voice. And she's like, I want to be a mother.
That's a whole nother thing. Is Julia was there to talent scout anyway, and she should have just like handed her a contract and be like, do you want to sing for me? Which I get contradicts the whole point of the movie and blah blah blah, like, because it gets resolved in the end. But like, why was that the thing that brought her into the coffee shop? Like, why
Yeah.
not be like, oh, my car broke down and my assistant's coming to change my tire because I don't know how to do anything. Aha, I'm rich and famous. You know what I mean? Like, build like some fucking deviancy and like the character, or like character flaws. You know what I mean?
A single problem. A
Yeah, a
single
single.
problem. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because Julia, when she swaps bodies with Audrey and she has to go drive, they like I somehow telepathically tell each other to meet up at the diner.
Yeah.
They when she gets into like the old ass car in Audrey's like driveway, she goes to push start it, and I'm like, okay, like
Yeah. Oh, I have a note written down. So the car was one unlocked, so she like, didn't have the keys, and like two, yeah, the push to start thing, and it's like, yeah, all right, you forgot how to drive a car. You got that car 5 years ago. Like,
yeah.
it's a 2018 movie. Like, push start isn't like that fucking embedded in your brain.
And like, I don't know. I was also confused in like they set up Jackie to be like. I mean, I'm sorry, Audrey to Jackie's the actress. The Audrey to be like the less smart one, more naive one, I should say. But then like Julia also shows some signs of like being like not as knowledgeable as you would think a president would be.
I'm sorry. I got a text.
What?
I got a text. Yeah, no, the knowledge thing. Yeah, it's just Julie was more structured, and that was her like reasoning for shit. Hello, did I lose you?
No, I'm still here. I'm trying to think of that rationale.
Yeah, I'm fucking.
I don't know. I think they like started to build character development in the start of this movie, even though it was bad, and then it just got completely abandoned when they body swapped. I think that's just what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. I
I,
also yeah. Go ahead.
we just real quick, we've like come to this conclusion for like the fifth time now.
But you know, we're trying. We're really trying to
Yeah.
like give this movie the benefit of the doubt. You know.
Yeah.
It's
It's
really just not worth it.
it's yeah, like it's so vanilla, it's so plain, it's so afraid to fucking reach out and do something. Like everyone is like even like the daughter's like, oh, loves her mom, like doesn't care. The teenage daughter's like a little angsty but still loves her. Everything's so safe.
Yeah. And any problem is just easily extinguished.
Yeah,
Like
every fucking hurdle is just like over in the next second or the next scene.
yeah, and like even when they have to go to meetings and they say the wrong thing, like it's not like I was making the note of like I was like Audrey acting as Julia just undid like months worth of work for these people.
And that should have been like heightened more or like talked about more, shown more.
Or Julia should have like she was like, oh, I'm gonna route my emails in so I could see what's going on, so she would have seen like a bunch of emails coming in being like, what the fuck, Julia, what the fuck are you doing?
Or not even that. I thought another thing when they swapped phones was going to be like Julia as Audrey would have like sent like work emails to her phone, and then it would have been like, oh, like what do you mean by this? And then like, oh, they would have been like, oh, I don't know, blah blah blah, like and like have a problem happen, and that didn't happen.
Yeah, no. Straight up, yeah, no. I also have that like when she says that. So remember at like the when Audrey as Julia is having the conversation with the assistant, and he says like, "Oh yeah, no, you guys don't like you guys only go after big talent now. You guys don't go after like small talent." Then she really shouldn't have been in the diner that day.
Exactly. That's a contradiction, and it's like, why?
They literally just I don't even think like read the script back.
Yeah.
Of what they were trying to do. Uh I hated that the way that they got back into their bodies, it wasn't like them wishing on a star or anything. They just kind of like they held their hands and like made a wish in the kitchen, and then nothing happened. And then they went back to the Christmas shop store on Christmas Eve, and like no questions from the husband or kids. And then they go in there and they're like, "Oh, we're closing up." I'm like, "What? They just got there?"
Yeah, it was like the like sun was setting, and then it was like, oh, 10 minutes, we are closed, in like the same fucking breath.
And then they say like, "Oh yeah, we want our lives back." They say that line of the
I want my
messy
messy life. I want my
yeah,
perfectly imperfect life.
and then they just go back into their bodies.
Yep.
I literally
And
said, "So what? They're grateful for their lives, and then they get their wish."
yeah. And then it cuts to a year later, or just they wake up and then like they like say I love you to their like wife and kids, and it's Christmas morning. I'm
Which
sorry, wife and kids, husband and kids.
I was like, okay, at least that was like a well acted scene. Finally, one of the 4 well acted scenes in this movie.
And then it cuts to a year later where she's singing in front of 100 people.
in her daydream.
Yeah.
And then when they go backstage after her singing, fucking Julia walks up to Audrey, now in their actual bodies, and says to her, "You're the #1 selling Christmas album."
That's just not fucking like that made me just like completely like fucking eyes just go black, and like I like didn't know what happened for the next 20 minutes, when I heard that line.
To be fair, Pentatonics, that a cappella group of like 5 or 4 or whatever. Or no, I think it's 5, Pentatonics. They made a Christmas album a couple years back, and it went like triple platinum, because nobody had made like new Christmas music in like a new way before. You know what I mean? In like years. So they like were immediately like the #1 charting Christmas music since like the early 2000s.
Well, no, I'm trying to think.
So it's possible. I'm not saying it's not possible.
It is possible, but like Mariah Carey, when she wrote "All I Want for Christmas Is You," how are other people not capitalizing on like writing a Christmas themed song and then releasing it in the holidays?
Yeah.
Right? Because Mariah Carey, 12, 14 years ago, wrote that song.
Yeah, I think she wrote that song. Yeah. We better get into some Mariah Carey lore.
Anything other than this movie, fucking God, please.
Blah, blah.
The only other note I have is who leaves cookies in the fridge?
Yes, I had it too. Oh my God, I can't believe I missed that. I can't believe I missed that one. Who leaves cookies in the fridge? That's so funny that we both wrote it.
It was just abnormal enough for this movie. I was like, what? Why are they in the fridge? What was...
How about in the end when they teased the sequel, when like the 2 daughters, one who's 4 and the other one who's a high school teenager, they walk up and Kelly looks up and is just like, "What's that glowing ornament?" And in the worst acted scene I think I've seen since us doing this podcast, the other daughter Laurel just like looks and is like, "Oh," and then they grab it at the same time, and I'm like, what a sequel that would be.
I would watch that. I'd rather watch like like the kid with adult responsibilities, like you were saying.
A 4-year-old navigating of how she's going to make herself go to college. and then a confused teenager who was like, mom on and off loves her, who now is a 4-year-old. Hell yes, I would watch that. It's got to be Christmas, though.
Yeah, got to be Christmas.
Oh, wait, yeah, no, so it doesn't work because it's past Christmas.
No, it was a year later. I don't think.
Okay.
It was like the day of, right? It was a year later. I think it was the day of Christmas.
Okay.
But it might not be exact. I don't fucking know.
That's whatever.
That's the overarching fucking theme of this movie. Is like, yeah, sure, whatever.
This one was definitely like a throw up your arms and go, 1000%.
I don't think I said this, but like I don't know how like even if you like love just like turning off your brain, just like oh haha like you log Christmas movie time and like even just like paying attention to this a little bit, how could you enjoy this?
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I give Fur Crazy and the Spirit of Christmas at least because I'm like at least with those you can turn off your brain. You know, there was some good scenes, there was things, a lot of things that did not make sense, but it was like campy enough for you to just like in some way sit back and enjoy it when you're not looking at it with like a critical eye like we do. But this movie had none of that.
Yeah,
It was just incomprehensible. Just
but
like
I feel so bad because looking back on Spirit of Christmas, I would love to not watch it again, but talk about that again in
yeah,
another because that was like so much more sustenance is in that than
yeah.
this movie.
Mm-hmm. Thousand, like a million percent. Honestly,
I,
like
I didn't I didn't know how good I had it. You know what I mean?
you don't know what you had until until it's gone.
Yeah, and I don't know if we said this as well. Like we both were like, can we pick another movie? Like this is not what we're trying to do today.
It was such a low bar setter that I'm very upset that I decided to watch this before doing the rest of my work. You know, I should have watched this last, like waited until you were like, "Oh, I'm watching the movie now," and to start watching it because I watched this before everything, and I was like,
I did. I think I texted you. I think it was like 2 o'clock. I was like, oh yeah, I'll like I'm about to start, and then it's like it's later in the evening. I finally fucking finished it.
"Yeah." I mean, it was a slog. I woke up at like 10 a.m. and watched this movie.
Right in the morning. But the thing is, like, there's so many. Just glancing on like Hallmark Now or whatever they call it. Like, there's such like they're great movies that are coming up that we could have watched, and we picked the one that just like is so boring and so like unproblematic and so boring, so boring.
It was. Don't watch this movie. I'll
No,
say it again. Just don't watch this movie. Save yourself some time.
there's just nothing. Like we're harping on such little shit. We're harping on the shit that isn't even there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And like just the fact that like Miss Nick, who's supposed to be like the Santa Claus embodiment, just is doing this for no reason. Like they're just their motivations are the same for no reason. Just like every problem gets solved right away. I don't know. What else do you want? Nobody even notices they like swap bodies, and they're just like, "Oh, head injuries!" Like the whole time.
Yeah,
You know?
like I wish like Kelly, the daughter, the young daughter, would have been like, you're not acting like my mom. Like
Yeah.
are you sure you're my mom? And like had been like, oh, the kid who fucking has more fucking cognitive function than like all the adults type deal. I don't know.
Which she did already.
Anything.
Which she did already. Um. Yeah. There was just no problems. There was not enough problems. Not enough drama. They instantly became friends. They didn't resent each other. They
Yeah.
didn't resent their own family. This new family that they got brought into. Like it was everybody just took to them right away. They were in each other's house for that dinner party for no reason. It was just like, oh, she came for dinner. Like what?
That dinner party was so I felt so awkward watching that. And I know that's not what they were like specifically going for. They weren't like trying to hit the awkward fucking ness, but it was so just like the daughter came in and was like, oh, you can't use your phone. And it's like, oh, it's for school. And then she just like leaves and like that's the scene. And it's like, what?
And then she's like screaming, going, "I'm a failure," because they're gonna get
Yeah.
a B on a project.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like you can't be like, oh, my friend fucking went to Aruba instead of fucking doing the project. Like, can I like talk to my teacher about that? Like, it's like, of course you can. Like,
And then she's like, "You're not." And then Julia, who's playing Audrey, just like walks in and is just like, "Oh, you're not a failure. Your mom loves you so much. She told me."
yeah, I wrote that down. Why is like this random teenager just like listening to this like random woman that she's met twice and like crying in her arms? Like, what?
Yeah, because she's a mom, you know, she knows how things work. Although it really was her mom, you know, like. So I mean, at least that scene had some substance in it.
Yeah, but like it could have been done so much better.
Yeah, Hallmark, baby.
Honestly, I'm not even gonna spend the fucking effort to like confirm if it's a Hallmark movie.
Why? I good luck finding it. You know
Like,
what I mean? Like,
that's what I'm saying. It's so hard to find shit on this movie. You're saying like two Google tabs down, like you're getting a whole different fucking movie that has like sequels
not
pop
even.
up.
Well, it's just so like anonymously named. Like a Christmas Switch. There's also like a Princess Switch. Like there's so many. There's a whole bunch of Netflix movies that have
There's
a Christmas Switch in like the title.
there's also the Christmas Switch, which I fucking mistyped, and fucking 5 minutes later I was like, oh wait, this is the wrong movie.
You're like, who are these people in this movie? And
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, no, the Google messed up on that, man. Like,
yeah.
which like that's how bad it is. Like Google doesn't even recognize this movie like right away. It jumbles it with a bunch of other stuff in the algorithm.
All right, one thing I have to mention as I'm going through over my tabs is um, this movie has a link to Jack and Jill.
Yes.
The actress who plays Audrey, her name's Jackie. Fucking what is that last name? Sedan? Help me out here,
Satan?
Andy.
Yeah,
Sedan.
Satan.
Jackie Sedan. There we go.
I just click things and I didn't mean to click things.
Uh, is in Jack and Jill. She's at the when David Spade is dressed as a woman and like they're at like the New Year's party and they're joking, laughing about like, oh, there's Jill from high school. Let's all make fun of her. She's at that fucking table with the Jersey accent.
I'm just gonna let that sink in.
I just like it's this is like arguably the worst movie we've seen. Like it has a connection to fucking the worst movie we've seen.
But that's what I mean. Like that's all the parts that all these actors have. They're not like starring role actors. All of them have those like small 30-second scene parts. And then it's like, oh, they're expected to carry a movie. I'm like, that's just unfair. And a hard one at that, like a hard of being like, all right, you're gonna act like this character for half the movie, not even half, probably like 20 minutes into the movie. Then you're gonna act like a totally other character, and then you're gonna be changed at the end.
No, it's a hard thing to do. But when it's like, oh, you just have to act this way, not even like the other actress, it's something else entirely.
Yeah, but you're doing it of the other actress's character. That's not. It's not easy. You know what I
Oh
mean?
no,
Like it's
but
it's definitely not easy to body swap.
that's what I was saying before. They weren't like acting like the other actress. They like acted a little snotty or acted a little standoffish. They didn't act like the other character. They acted
Oh yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
how
No,
they would act.
yeah, no. But I'm
Like
saying like you're expecting that of people who aren't of that like pedigree. You know?
like as I was clicking over, looking over the actors and actresses, credentials and stuff like that. Like they were in Shameless. They were in a bunch of movies. Shameless Hall of Fame. What is that? Oh yeah, but a bunch of like New Girl isn't Argo. Two Broke Girls. What was Jacking in? No, I think I saw a bunch. Oh, she's in another movie called Ode to Joy. Hope that's a fucking singing.
Also, like I should say that the director is his name is Brian Hertzlinger. He's done a couple of these movies: My Date with Drew, Meet My Valentine, Twinkle All the Way, uh, Finding Normal. He's the director of all those movies. And then the writer Paula Ron. She has done a Snow White Christmas, a Christmas Switch, Killer Fan, and Rock and Roll Christmas. She's written all of those movies just to get a scope.
All right, I say we just wrap this up. I'm very much so done talking about this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've covered every base. Last few things on my notes, I just have to say, like, she was singing some weird type of ode to joy in the beginning, where she was like Christina Aguilera.
Yeah. Well, and if you're gonna like do that and like have the pitch changes and have like the long like Verberation or whatever.
Yeah.
You have to lip sync like it. You can't just fucking hold your mouth open.
It was a really bad lip sync job. And then I
It's
said,
just so memorable, you know?
it stands out
Yeah.
because it's wrong, you know? And then I just said, these husbands really love being abused.
Oh yeah, right. They were like fighting for their fucking lives, and they were just like, "Oh, honey, your head." Like,
Can you please stop swinging the closet door closed? You're gonna break it.
yeah,
Why'd you lay down? All right. I mean, we went over this. You couldn't find a review, which I don't blame you because Google even fucked up what movie this
the
is.
movie. Yeah.
Adam, what are you rating this?
All right. Honestly, here let's talk about this, Andy. Is this movie? How much worse is this movie, or comparatively to Jack and Jill?
Do you want my rating? Do you
Yeah,
just
give me a
outright want
rating.
my rating? I'm
Yeah.
giving this a 1. Giving this a hard 1.
So it's 7.7 higher on our scale than to Jack and Jill.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
you're
think I
comfortable with
think
that?
I think it was acted better, and even if it was only a couple of scenes that it was acted better than it, I think I can honestly say I like this movie better than Jack and Jill. If you go lower,
Then
I'm fine with it, man. I don't really give a shit.
no. All right, so it's gonna go Fur Crazy 1.4, Spirit of Christmas 1.2. I'm gonna just give this a 1.1 to go on the fucking numeric scale of getting worse as we go down the line. Hopefully, our last one isn't fucking even worse.
I think we're all also being generous.
Yeah.
I think we're really being generous with this one. I mean, lowest rated out of the Hallmark movies, yeah, probably. I definitely. It was the lowest rated out of the last 2 movies we watched. Just no substance.
Yep. It was honestly unenjoyable to watch, like through and through. Like you said, there was like 3 good things they did, and it like was very small. It was very like minute portion of the movie.
Over an hour and 30 minutes. So it's not even like, oh, it's a 90. It's not even like it's just an hour long movie. It's quick and easy and cut and dry. No, hour and 30 that I won't get back.
Yeah, no, well, even longer for you. I don't know if this was also said. You watched it twice.
I watched like half an hour of it again. I just, just looking for anything, just like trying to cling to anything for it to be
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Maybe in the, like the 5 minutes I swapped. There was something good in there.
And there wasn't. There really wasn't. It wasn't even like the scenes in which they were fucking up were even that awkward. Like it was literally like, "Oh, mommy, you forgot my crust," and you're like, she's just like, "You'll live." And I'm like,
Yeah, like
okay, I
literally,
mean,
she's
that
like,
wasn't.
"Mom's tired today. I'm sorry. Like, cut your own crust." Like,
My
it's like,
back
oh
hurts. I'm
yeah,
sleeping on the couch.
yeah.
We forgot to
Oh,
talk about that how they avoided to sleep in bed with each other.
oh.
Well, okay, let's sign off. Adam, thank you for slogging through this movie with me.
It's Christmas. Please, the next one be better.
Please let
D-
let that be our Christmas Hubie
Miracle.
Halloween.
Oh my. Oh please. Oh, I want to keep Halloween so bad.
We're gonna rate this next one so high.
Yeah, regardless, it's gonna be like when we watch Good Luck Chuck, and it's like, oh, like a paid movie where like people knew what they were doing. Like, why are we watching this?
Oh man. Well, to everybody listening to this, thank you guys so much. You really took a bullet for you this week. Do not watch this movie. I'll say it again. Oh yeah, I forgot to plug everything at Netflops
Yep.
Pod on Twitter. At Andy Doherty on all social medias. Follow all of us there. Send us your recommendations, movies you want to see us do. We got some cool stuff in the works for when New Year hits in January. But also thank you guys for listening, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Bye bye.